Hey, what's up, guys? You're here with Kirk and Goran from PickDawgz, and thank you for joining us here once again. This time for Sunday, May 19th. It's gonna be a big day, Kirk. We are finishing off the EPL. We will find out the new EPL champion. Is it gonna be Manchester City for the fourth time in a row, or is it gonna be Arsenal?
Yeah, it's not going to be a new EPL champion. I'm telling you that much. Yeah, sorry, Arsenal fans. You got close again, but close isn't going to do it. Sorry, a lot of
Yeah,
my friends are Arsenal fans, so I'm happy, or not happy yet, but I'm going to be happy on Sunday once City wins the title.
it would really take something special for West Ham to shake off their horrible, horrible form and beat Manchester City on their own, eh?
Would be it would be one of the craziest upsets ever, I think.
And then again, Arsenal still has to beat Everton, which I don't think is going to be as easy as the books might think.
I agree with you on that completely.
Uh, we do have our premium picks, guys. You can check them by clicking the links in the description of this video. Put us together, guys, or buy our individual packs. It's going to be probably 5 pack from me for Sunday. I'm assuming another 5 pack from Kirk, maybe, because it is a big slate, a lot of games, finishing off the EPL, finishing off the League One. And then Serie and La Liga are finishing off next week. But like I said, it's gonna be highly entertaining Sunday. Let's get this show on the road, Kirk. We have a lot of games to go through. The first one is between Arsenal and Everton in EPL. Arsenal quite heavy favorites. They deserve to be the favorites, but you know what? Everton has been playing pretty well lately, and they're actually undefeated in their last 5 games.
Yeah, as you said, I don't think this game's going to be as much of a cakewalk for Arsenal as the books are thinking. I think Everton will keep it fairly close. Arsenal will probably dominate the game, but I just don't see this game going crazy high scoring. Two of their last three meetings have actually been 1-0. So Everton clearly knows the blueprint on how to make this a competitive outing. So I'm backing under 3.5 here at minus 124.
Yeah, like you said, Arsenal will probably dominate the game. They will have the majority of possession. I wouldn't be surprised to see them around 75% pretty much the entire game. And that should allow them to create a lot of chances, to get a lot of shots. And with that, I do think they will get a lot of corners as well. So my pick here is Arsenal over 7.5 corners and at minus 128. For the next game, Kirk in the EPL, Brentford and Newcastle are facing off. Newcastle ended up losing their game against United midweek. Uh, this is still a team that's been hit by a lot of injuries. They did get some of them back, but right now I see that Gordon is listed as questionable and Callum Wilson as well, which is definitely a huge blow for this team. But I think that they will put it together, and I think that they will come and compete in this final game of the season.
Yeah, it should be a good game to be completely honest. Another one that I don't really completely agree with the books here is the total. The over under here is 3.5. Brentford has really not been scoring or conceding much lately. Newcastle definitely has, but with both teams wanting to end the season on a high note, I'm expecting kind of a lower scoring game. So I'm going to back to under 3.5 at minus 124 again.
And potentially with a win here, and if Chelsea loses their game, Newcastle could get to that Conference League spot, which would be a huge step down from them getting into the Champions League spot like they did last season. But still, playing in Europe will bring them in some money. It's not going to be much, but still better than nothing. So I think that they will go for the win here. They have been scoring a lot of goals. They have been one of the best teams in the attacking end in the EPL with 81 scored goals. So with that in mind, I'm gonna take over 10.5 shots on target at plus 102 here. Like you said, Brentford hasn't been scoring a lot, but they can definitely create chances against the sloppy defensive team like Newcastle is. So you have the under 3.5 at minus 124. I wouldn't be surprised to see that at all. I'm going with shots. Let's see how effective these two teams will be.
Yeah.
Burnley and Nottingham Forest. Now, Burnley did get relegated. Nottingham Forest could definitely use a win here to stay above the relegation zone. And luckily for them, they are playing against the team who is relegated. But that doesn't mean that Burnley will just give them points.
Yeah, no, this is Burnley's last game in the Premier League, as you said. Nottingham's safe, to be honest. They're 3 points ahead of Luton with a 12 goal better difference. So unless Luton wins 13-0 and Nottingham loses, Nottingham's fairly safe. But as you said, Burnley, that's their last game in the Prem. They're going to have a good showing. I think it'll probably be a little low scoring here. So I'm actually going to back the under in the first half at 1.5, which I think is good value here at minus 158.
Yeah, you know what? Every time I was watching Nottingham Forest play this season, they were quite impressive despite the ton of injuries that they were having since last season. Now they finally look fairly healthy. They had a great game against Chelsea as well. Ended up losing it, even though they were 2-1 ahead in that game. While Burnley, they also had some great games this season. They have a lot of potential, in my opinion. They are a great team. Unfortunately, they fell short. But in this game, I simply think that Nottingham Forest will get the job done. So I'm going to go for the full value here, and that is Nottingham Forest to win and both teams to score at plus 250. Now, there's that game that I mentioned. Chelsea and Bournemouth are facing off. Chelsea definitely need, well, they don't need a win. They could be satisfied with a draw here if they want the Conference League, but potentially with a win and Tottenham losing their game against Sheffield, Chelsea could find themselves in the Europa League.
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea's been firing. They've won their last 4 games, played some good opponents, to be honest. They beat Tottenham, they beat Brighton, which is never an easy game in Brighton's house. So I do like Chelsea here to win, but I do think it'll be a high scoring game. Chelsea have scored 75 goals this year. Bournemouth have conceded 65. The over-under is 3.5 for this game as well. It seems like there's a lot of high over-unders in the Prem this weekend, but on this one, I'm taking the over as Chelsea's just been so hot, and I do think Bournemouth will score. I could easily see a 3-1 here, but I could also see 4-1, 4-0. So I'm backing over 3.5 goals at minus 130.
Yeah, like you said, Chelsea has been on fire lately, and I gotta be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this Chelsea team, but they seem to have find their groove now at the end of the season. They have a lot of momentum, and they have basically been looking quite unbeatable. Their offense has been clicking. They have been creating chances, scoring goals, and this is gonna be another game where I'm gonna go with Chelsea to win and both teams to score at plus 110. For our next game, we have Luton playing against Fulham, and even if Luton ends up winning this game, like you said, they still have far worse goal differential than Nottingham Forest does, and unless they win it like 12 or 13-0, their hopes of staying in the EPL are basically zero.
Yeah, as you said, Luton, they know they're probably getting relegated. They're gonna try to put on a show here, but they've conceded so many goals, the second most. I mean, Sheffield, we don't even need to talk about. They've conceded over 100, but Luton's conceded
Sheffield
81.
conceded like 25 goals in the last 8 games, so there you go.
Yeah, but I mean, Luton's conceded 81, which is also a high mark, and I know they don't really have much to play for, but I think Fulham's just a better team here, and I do like Fulham on the money line here. I think that they should be favorites in this game, to be completely honest. So I'm taking Fulham at plus 120.
I mean, for the first time being in the EPL, sure, you're always hoping that you can do enough to stay in the league, such as EPL, for at least another season after you get there. But this has just been that kind of a season where the three teams that got promoted in the EPL are getting relegated right after the season. And Luton Town, they did show some great power. They honestly had a few great games, and they always try to do their best. They always fight back. And unfortunately, it simply was not enough. They were also hit by a lot of injuries. Their captain collapsed on the pitch, and he was out for what, half the season at least.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, unfortunately, it was that kind of a season for them. But I think that this being the last game of the EPL season for them, I think that they will try to get a win. I think that they will at least try to get to the scoreboard. And because of that, I'm taking both teams to score in over 2.5 at minus 154. Now, Manchester City and West Ham, it almost seems like Manchester City is playing like a third division team here because West Ham is plus 2200 underdog.
I mean, every team that's playing Man City right now seems like a third-tier team with how they're playing. This is just this is simple. City's winning the title. City's winning by a lot. I don't see it happening any different. They're in cruise control. So give me City minus 2.5. If you want to be overly excited about this, you could even go to minus 3.5, and I think it could hit. I'm gonna play it minus 2.5 at minus 134.
Yeah, this is one of those games where you have to dig deep to get some value out of something. Over 2.5 at minus 435, City minus 833. You really have to combine something or take Holland to score like 3+ goals to get some value out of this game. Uh, Instead of the sides or the goals, I decided to take over 9.5 corners at minus 143, which is actually not a bad price, and the line is actually quite decent. If they are on their game, I think that City alone can get us at least 8 or 9 corners in this game. And then if West Ham, by some miracle, contributes to something or tries and do something in this game, maybe they can get us another corner or two. But I think that we are going to see over 9.5 corners in this game. And yes, I do agree. City is the new champion of the EPL. Well, old new champion.
What's the line on West Ham under point 0.5 corners?
Oh, jeez.
I'm
I don't
just
even know, but that's an interesting take. You know what? Let me look it up real quick while we move on to the next game. The last one in the EPL that we have, Sheffield versus Tottenham, Kirk.
I mean, do we even need to talk about Sheffield anymore? They can try all they want, but they're not they're not doing anything, to be honest. Tottenham played pretty well against City, to be completely honest. Son missed a couple of good chances, and Tottenham, as we said, they need a win here, to be completely honest, to stay ahead of Chelsea for that fifth spot. And I thought the spread would be a little higher than 1.5, but Tottenham is only favored by 1.5 here at minus 110. So I'm going to take that and send Sheffield right back to the championship on a bad note.
Yeah, I would agree. I also expected Tottenham to be the heavier favorites here. But I actually got the corners here that we were looking at, and West Ham under zero point 0.5 corners is plus 470.
It's not even that bad.
So maybe if you're feeling adventurous, put some money on that. Like you said, Tottenham, I think that they deserve to be the bigger favorites here. Sheffield's defense is by far the worst defense of all the top five leagues that we have this season. Uh, they can't stop anything against anyone. So Tottenham to win and over 3.5 goals at plus 102. That's gonna be my pick for this one. That's it for the EPL, Kirk. Off to LaLiga, Bilbao and Sevilla. That should be an interesting game. Bilbao coming off of another loss, surprising loss to Celta Vigo, while Sevilla lost at home as well.
Yeah, I mean, Bilbao just basically needs a draw here to be considered for or to be in the Europa League for next year. And I don't know, whenever I see Sevilla, I think draw. You probably noticed by now. Bilbao, I also see a team that can draw a lot. And I just see value in the draw here. I think it's going to be a slower paced game. Both these teams haven't been playing too well. And I just like the draw here plus 270. There's not too much to say. It's just I think these two teams are very similar play style and everything, so a draw is likely here.
Yeah, this is a game where we are both in agreement. I have the draw as well. I don't need to say anything else about it. Honestly, a nil-nil draw looks highly likely in this game to me.
Yeah.
Atletico Madrid and Osasuna is the next matchup. Honestly, I don't even know why I have it on the list. Atletico Madrid is getting to the Champions League spot. What the only question is whether they end in the third or fourth place. While Osasuna on the other side, they have been in decent form, scoring some goals, but they can go up or down.
Yeah, I mean, Atletico, as we've been saying, they're the king of 1-2-0 victories. They've only conceded 39 times this whole campaign, and Osasuna has only scored 40 goals. I'm taking under 2.5 at plus 112. I think this is great value, to be honest, here. I don't like I don't think Osasuna is going to get a goal in this one. I know they've scored in their last two, but Atletico is just a different team at home.
I'm kind of relying on Osasuna here to keep their goal scoring form alive and to finish the season strong. I know they have nothing left to play for, but they have put up some decent performances this season. And because of that, I'm going to go with both teams to score at minus 111. Now, the most interesting game in La Liga probably is between Betis and Real Sociedad. Betis got a 2-2 draw, if I'm not mistaken, in their last game, which was highly disappointing because they played against Las Palmas, who was on a huge losing streak. While Sociedad has bounced back against Valencia, and they did get a 1-0 win, which is definitely putting them a step ahead of Betis here.
Yeah, I think this was a tough game for me to find value. Betis, I think of as a lower scoring game or a lower scoring team when I usually see them. They've been playing in higher scoring games, but they'll look to get back on track here after a disappointing tie. And Sociedad is just a very good they're a very good scheme. They play very well defensively. They didn't concede last game. They only scored one time. So I can see this being a very low scoring game. So I'm gonna back no goals in the first half here, plus 164.
Yeah, that's not a bad pick at all. The biggest problem for Betis right now is the fact that they lost Isco, who was
Yeah.
their key player, which is definitely a huge blow. But all they have to do is move on. All they can do is move on and try to snag at least a point out of Real Sociedad here and then leave it all for the last day of the season, which is why I'm going with both teams to score. I don't think that they can keep a clean sheet against Sociedad, who actually is a great team when they have a ball in their possession, and they do that quite well, I gotta say. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with both teams to score. For our next pick, Kirk, let me just find it here. We have the last pick in La Liga between Villarreal and Real Madrid. Matchup that should be very interesting because Villarreal has been playing in decent form, while Real Madrid we know has won the title already. But they need to keep their form alive and keep it quite effective for that Champions League finale.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on who the team is for Real Madrid. Last week they had all the big guys out there, Vinny, Bellingham, Rodrigo. So I'm expecting a similar lineup here, and Villarreal they can still make that sixth spot for Conference League, so they're gonna go for the win. And I mean, with Real Madrid's counter, it killed my Bayern team, and Real Madrid's even here. You just have to take Madrid when they're even or plus value, in my opinion. So give me Madrid here on the money line at even.
Yeah, like you said, Villarreal still can get to that Conference League spot, but only if they win this game. Now, both teams to score in over 2.5 has hit in the last 4 games between these two teams. Uh, I do expect it to hit here as well, as we have two teams in excellent attacking form. But I'm going to go with over 10.5 shots on target, minus 133, as well as Villarreal is playing in the attacking end, equally bad on that defensive end. So I do expect Real Madrid to have probably better chances in this game. The only question is, can they use them? And can they score goals in this one? But however, I slice this one over 10.5 shots on target at minus 133. That's going to be my pick for this one. Off to the Italian Serie A, Kirk, where we have a few interesting games. Sassuolo and Cagliari being the first one. Uh, After beating Inter, Sassuolo lost the game and they still find themselves in the relegation zone at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a very interesting game. As you said, um, Sassuolo scored in 4 of their last 5 games. Same for the Cagliari. I can't say that word. Same with the other team. They've also scored in 4 of their last 5 games. Yeah, I mean, I think Sassuolo is not good enough defensively not to allow a goal, and I think they're good enough to score a goal as well. So I'm backing both teams to score at minus 158 in this one.
Yeah, you know what? Serie A is quite interesting right now because we have 5 teams at the bottom of the table within only 4 points, and nobody is safe except Salernitana, who are getting relegated. But Cagliari on the road this season has scored only 12 goals in 18 games while conceding 36. And even though Sassuolo hasn't been good team this season, whether they played at home on the road. They are a little bit better at home than Cagliari is on the road. Uh, I think that they have shown some decent football over the last couple of weeks. I think that they're feeling a lot of pressure, yes. But with a win here, potentially they could salvage their season. So I'm putting my faith here in Sassuolo, and I'm taking Sassuolo on the money line at plus 140.
We need to have
Uh,
an sorry, we need to have an Italian class because you know how to say it.
yeah, you were born in Europe, but I am European through and through, so I do know those European team names.
Yeah, I mean, give me French league, give me any other league. I just can't do Italian.
For our next pick, Kirk, we have Udinese and Empoli, two more teams from the bottom of the table. Udinese actually is coming off of a win in their latest game, while Empoli, probably one of the least effective teams in Serie A, with only 26 scored goals this season.
Yeah, as you said, Empoli has scored the least goals in Serie A. These teams are actually only 1 point apart, and as you said, Udinese won their last game. They're at home. A point should be good enough for them, but not for Empoli. So I do think Empoli will have to go for it, and I like Udinese money line at plus 105. I think they're the better team here. They're more effective, even though I think both these teams could easily be relegated in terms of how they played this year. But Udinese is going to stay in Serie A next year, and I'm taking the money line at plus 105.
Yeah, I got absolutely nothing to add here. You said it all exactly as I was thinking it. Udinese on the money line, far better team than Empoli on, well, not on both ends, but in that attacking end that matters right now. And the form wise, Udinese is the better team, and they will be getting the home win here against Empoli. For next matchup, and the last one is Serie A, Kirk, we have Roma and Genoa. Roma, who could definitely use a win in this game, but Genoa is not a bad team at all, and their form is actually quite solid with only one loss in their last 5 games.
Yeah, Genoa's been pretty surprising to me. They've only conceded 44 goals this year, which is about 1 goal a game, 1.2 goals per game. And they've, as you said, they're in pretty decent form. Roma would like a win here. And I probably do see them getting a win here at home, but I don't think a victory here. I think this is another game that's going to be close, just like Arsenal Everton. I think it's going to be a very tough game for Roma. So I'm backing under 2.5 at even odds here.
Yeah, I think this was gonna get a little bit chippy, if I'm being honest. Roma is feeling a little bit of a pressure right now. They are hoping that Atalanta will screw up again and drop points, but they still need a win here to get to that Champions League spot, and even that might not be enough. So the last two games are gonna be key for the Roma. I think that they are good enough to get a couple of wins and get to that Champions League spot, but like I said, I think that they're feeling a bit of a pressure. And with that in mind, I'm taking over 4.5 cards at minus 105 in this one. I don't think that's a high line for this game at all. I wouldn't be surprised to see at least one or two cards in the first half alone.
Yeah.
For our last few picks, Kirk, we are going to the French League One, where we have Lille versus Nice in the first one, and Lille needs a win out of this game. That is, if they want to avoid those additional qualifications of the Champions League.
Yeah, Nice is slotted into that fifth spot here, and nothing really changes. Lille does need a win here. I do think they will get the win, but I like more value here, honestly, in both teams not to score. I mean, Nice has only conceded 27 times. Lille's only conceded 32. These are both the lowest in League One for the year, and Nice doesn't score a lot at all either. So I could see a Lille like 1-2-0 win here, to be honest. I could honestly even see 0-0 or 1-0 Nice. I think this is just going to be a very tactical game.
Yeah, Lille is actually the best team, the best home team in the league this season with 32 scored goals, which is an average of 2 goals per game, and only 12 conceded goals when playing at home. On the other side, Nice has been very solid on the road as well. They are not scoring a lot, and I think that's going to be a problem for them in this game. I'm putting my faith on Lille here at home. I'm going to take them on the money line. It's minus 154. I think the best way to do in this game would be to take them in a double with something else, just because it seems a little bit risky. So why not take a full advantage of it and get the most money out of it? In the next matchup, Kirk, we have Lyon and Strasbourg. Lyon somehow managed to gravel themselves out of the bottom of the table where they were in pretty much the entire first half of the season. And not only that, they are very, very close to that Conference League spot. That is, if they win here and if Lens drops points in their game.
Yeah, I mean, as you said it, they need a win here. I think they will get it here at home. But this is kind of a crazy stat. Lyon has conceded the most goals besides the relegation zone in League One this year. They've conceded 54 times. So I do think Strasbourg gets on the board here, but Lyon also scores a decent amount. Both teams five.
Yeah, I think that Lyon is the better team at the moment, at least in that attacking end. And I'm going to go a bit of a similar way, maybe a bit more conservative, and that is Lyon to win and over 2.5 goals. But them keeping a clean sheet in this game is not likely because Strasbourg has been a decent team overall this season and in a decent form as of late. So I have Lyon to win and over 2.5 goals. You have Lyon to win and both teams to score. Let's hope we hit both of those. Another pick in the French League One, Kirk,
Yep.
is between Lens and Montpellier. Like I said, Lens needs a win here. That's the only thing that could potentially keep them in that Conference League spot, which is something they definitely want. While Montpellier, on the other side, they have been in decent form. However, they are coming off of a loss.
Yeah, this one I don't see Lens as being too much Montpellier, to be completely honest. They're not too far off in terms of points. I think they're on 9 to 10. They're not, as you said, Lens does need a win here, but they haven't beaten them by more than 2 in their last 3 games. I do like Montpellier here at plus 1.5 at minus 150. I don't think this will be a blowout here. So I do think Montpellier keep this one close.
Yeah, I'm not as confident in Lens here as I am in Lyon and Lille at home. I think this is going to be a very competitive game for them. Montpellier, in a decent form, like I said, they have been scoring quite a bit of a goals, and overall they are a solid team. So instead of the sides in this one, I'm going with both teams to score at minus 161. It is a bit juiced, but maybe that's the pick you put in a double with Lille and get nice plus money out of it. Now, Kirk, we have the last game of the day, the last game of the season in the French League One as well. Toulouse versus Brest. Brest in that playoff spot, in the Champions League spot. With a win here potentially and a bad result from that Lille game, they could find themselves qualifying straight for the Champions League, which would be something outstanding for them, and it would be the biggest success of their history.
Yeah, as you said it, history is going to be made. I think Brest wins this game here. They've been making me a lot of money this year, and I don't think it stops here, to be completely honest with you. Toulouse has nothing to play for. Give me Brest on the money line at minus 120. It's that simple.
Yeah, definitely they deserve to be the favorites that they are. Let's just hope they step it up. They haven't won any of their last 2 games, but their form overall this season has been outstanding. They have been an outstanding surprise, probably the nicest surprise of all of the top 5 leagues in Europe. They have scored 50 goals, conceded only 34. That's an average of just over one conceded goal per game. And for a team such as Brest, to play so well defensively, that's actually quite a shock. And kudos to them for putting up such a great season. I do like them to win in this one. However, I like the over 2.5 a bit more, and that is at minus 154. Once again, Kirk, we are up to the parlay of the day. This time you have a three-legger based on plus 863. Why don't you give it to us?
Yep, a game we didn't talk about, but this is one of the hottest teams in Europe right now, Crystal Palace. Give me Crystal Palace at minus 125 at home to finish their season on a great run. So that's my first leg. Second, I'm backing Holland to get 2 goals or more plus 150. Holland scored 2 last game, had 4 3 weeks ago. So if they really do trash West Ham like I'm expecting, I do think Holland scores twice at least. And then third, I'm going with Chelsea -1.5. They've covered this line in, I think, three of their last four games, and they've won their last four games. So those three legs plus 863. Thank you, Premier League, for another winning year.
You have it, guys. That's a three-leg parlay from Kirk. I have a five-leg parlay once again. I will take Tottenham on the money line against Sheffield. I'm taking Nottingham Forest on the double chance against Burnley. Brighton versus Manchester United, a game we didn't talk about. I'm going with over 2.5 goals in that one. I'm taking Lyon on the money line in the French League One. And I'm taking Barcelona on the money line against Rayo Vallecano in La Liga. Another game we didn't talk about, but Barcelona is finishing the season strong. They have a couple of wins in a row right now, and I think that they will get a couple more as well. So this five-leg parlay pays out at plus 364. Kirk has a three-legger plus 863. That's it, everyone. Thank you for joining us here once again. Hope you had a great day. Good luck with all of your bets. And of course, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button. Enjoy, and we'll see you soon with more free picks.